If you're renting in Montreal right now, there's one number that tells you whether buying actually beats renting for you, and almost nobody calculates it right. I'm gonna run it live on a real listing with real numbers. Right now in Montreal, here's what's actually happening. Sales are down 7% from last quarter. Listings are up 14% and prices are still climbing. That sounds contradictory. Fewer people buying, but prices going up? It's not contradictory. It just means the people who are buying are serious, and sellers who don't need to sell are pulling their listings instead of dropping their price. Which means if you're sitting on the fence between renting and buying, the market isn't going to hand you a clean answer. You need to run your own number. So let's run it. Let's use a real listing. This one's actually one of mine, currently active, 330 Rue Léotable-Dubuc in La Prairie. It's a 3+1 bedroom, 2+1 bathroom home on a 7,300 square foot lot. The listing price, $790,000. Say you put 10% down, that's $79,000. Your mortgage on the remaining $733,000 at today's roughly 4.1% interest over 25-year amortization runs you about $3,890 per month. Add this property's real property taxes are $400 and insurance at $150 per month. Your all-in monthly cost of owning this exact unit is about $4,440. Now, compare that to renting. Not a guess, a similar home within the same area with very similar specs rented this year for $2,900 per month. That's $1,540 per month cheaper to rent in cash. Here's where most videos stop. But here's the real question. What if you invested that $1,540 per month instead of paying it towards a mortgage? And what if you invested your down payment and closing costs of roughly $98,000 too, instead of tying it up? Let's actually run both paths forward. We'll be using a 5-year fixed rate for one mortgage term since it's a very common scenario. So with that in mind, what does each path look like after exactly 5 years? Path 1, you buy. Using a conservative 5% average annual appreciation for this market, well below the 8.4% annual appreciation La Prairie has actually seen in the last 5 years, this home is worth about $1,008,000 in 5 years. Your mortgage balance has come down to about $648,796. That means your equity less sales commissions, what you actually own, is about $312,846. Path 2, you rent and you invest the difference. You take that $98,000 you didn't spend on a down payment and closing costs, as well as the $1,540 per month you saved versus owning, and you put it in a basic portfolio averaging 10% a year. After 5 years, that portfolio is worth about $280,000. Now, for this to be a real comparison, we have to take into account capital gains tax on the profits of the portfolio. Your after-tax portfolio value will be about $257,069. $312,846 versus $257,069. Buying wins by about $55,777 over one 5-year term on this specific listing. Now, this scenario assumes that you actually make that $1,540 investment every single month. In reality, less than 1% of the population has the discipline to make that investment every single month. A mortgage doesn't allow you to miss the payments. The forced savings nature of it ends up winning for the average consumer. Even when assuming 5% property appreciation versus 10% stock portfolio return, real estate won. That's the real power of buying real estate. You're not just paying down a loan, you're capturing appreciation on the full value of the property, not just the part you put down. That leverage and the forced savings is what the renter and invest path can't replicate. Now, 3 things that shape this number, and honestly, most of them tilt further in the buyer's favor, not against it. 1, I assumed the stock investor reinvested all of their dividends and never missed a payment. As discussed, this is rarely the case. 2, rent isn't staying flat at $2,900. It never does. If rent climbs even 3% a year, like it typically does here, the renter's monthly investment shrinks every year while the buyer's mortgage payments stay fixed for the full 5-year term. that widens the gap in the buyer's favor over time. 3. This assumed 5% appreciation. Conservative for this neighborhood. If La Prairie does what it's actually done in recent years, this number is bigger, not smaller. So, if you can commit to one 5-year term on a listing like this, buying wins. Real numbers, real listing, about $55,777 ahead. If you want me to run this exact math for your actual situation, your rent, your target price range, your timeline, book a 15-minute call. The link's down below. I'll bring the spreadsheet, you bring the numbers. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next one.